Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Disruption Podcast. It's me, your host, Ankur Garg, with my co-host,
Ludwig Araujo. What's up, everyone?
and we have some extremely special guests. These are the guys that helped me launch the Shreds app back in the day. These guys are some of the most innovative coding, service providers, marketing guys, tech guys, all sorts of stuff.
Gurus.
And I am extremely excited to welcome Daniel and Michael Nasello. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
How's it going?
It's going good.
Good.
It's been a long time since I've seen you guys.
At least 3 years, I think.
At least pre-COVID.
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 I try to meet you guys over a meal. And so today that we're meeting over microphones, I hope you guys don't mind.
Oh, that's fine.
So there's no food after this? Is that what you're saying?
There can be.
okay.
There can be. We have to figure that out.
All right.
But damn, I mean, so tell us a little bit about Combustion Group, because I think everyone at home doesn't know what Combustion Group is. And I don't think I would do it justice if I explain what type of services you guys offer.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, sure. So we're
That was such a great hot potato moment. I was like, it was like, no, not me. You go.
You got this.
usually he does.
He's
the intro,
marketing
but,
department. I don't do anything.
so we're a full service digital agency. We do a lot of custom projects, mobile apps, websites, marketing, all that good stuff. Recently, I would say around the time of COVID, we've transitioned into doing our own SaaS projects. Trying to branch out a little bit and do projects for ourselves after kind of honing our skills so many years on.
Michael, that's way too humble, bro. I know you can explain what you guys do a little bit better than that. You guys want me to help?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Go
give
for
it.
it.
You are the
I'm gonna
best.
give it a shot. All right. So what Combustion Group, in my opinion, does better than anyone else that I've noticed is that you guys figure out how to do what Steve Jobs did for Apple. You figure out what the user base wants for a certain client, and then you figure out how to put it in front of them. For us, with the app, you figured out how to take e-commerce and put it into a mobile environment. And this is before TapCart. This is before Shopify Mobile. Any of that stuff didn't exist back then, right? And so I think you guys did it for Del Russo with this whole sign-up process.
Sure.
I think you guys did it for hip-hop artists with different things that you did with their downloads, the music streams, and everything else there. And now you guys are doing it in meal prep, from what I hear.
We're heavy meal prep.
So, I mean, I feel like that's a better way to explain it. Right. You guys are the Steve Jobs of e-commerce.
Sure. We'll take like a market that has a need and no one's really doing anything there and say, this is how we can make some money doing it. And then just run with it.
So, Ludwig,
Yeah.
I heard a rumor. This is their first podcast.
Is it? I mean, these guys?
It's their first podcast.
As long as they've been around?
That's crazy to me.
That's interesting.
Absolutely.
So, you guys are normally the guys behind the camera, not in front of the camera.
Exactly.
Let's name drop. Tell us some guys you guys have worked with.
Definitely Fetty Wap. So Fetty Wap, as you know, is a multi-platinum artist.
Ludwig, I think we've heard of that guy.
I think so.
Yeah.
Patterson?
Patterson.
Yeah.
So he came to our office through a mutual friend, his money manager, Mark, and basically he said, "Hey, I need to make more money." So, so we said, "Great, let's make an online streaming, concert." So we did a bunch of content in our office at the time. You've been there, and we used his Facebook and Instagram to promote the concert, and we sold 130,000 tickets at $5 a piece. So we made like $700,000 in one night. Between all everybody.
They did the Taylor Swift effect before it was a thing.
Yeah,
Genius.
well, if we had Taylor Swift, it would have been a lot more fun for everybody.
Yeah. So when did you do this?
2016.
Oh, wow. That was way
So
before.
that was before like even the Eventbrites were,
Yeah.
or the people that were doing streaming, that we weren't doing it yet.
Facebook Live was the big streaming thing at
Yeah,
that
but they
time.
weren't making money yet.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't monetize your streams back then with anybody. And there was a service called Livestream. I'm not sure if they're still around, but they had like an app where you could
I've
publish.
still on, yeah.
Yeah, but they were like in the beginning of their stages when we did this project. So streaming online wasn't huge. That didn't really get big, I think, until the pandemic.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
like
You know what's annoying? You know how all of us have that guy who tried pitching us crypto when it was like
Yeah.
8 cents
Yeah.
for a Bitcoin? These guys have been
These
pitching
guys-
me like paid live streams for as long as I can possibly remember. And I had no idea that you guys were making that kind of money.
Yeah, we
back
made almost
then.
$1 million with just Fetty Wap.
Yo,
I mean, we've
that's
done other
wild.
stuff, but yeah.
That's amazing.
So did you have any concerns? I mean, something like that would scare me, right? Because if you're doing it for the first time, you're saying, yeah, this thing can crash.
Yeah. So it wasn't our first time. So
Okay.
the first time we did it was with an artist called Stevie B. He's an 80s freestyle artist. Have you ever heard the song Spring Love?
Yes.
So he made that song. I reached out to him on Facebook in 2013. So he immediately was interested because he was another one that didn't really have a lot of money coming in at the time. We flew out to California and we did a live stream from a live performance in Beverly Hills. Yeah, we got 50,000 viewers at $3 a pop for him. So it wasn't as much, but still for a 60-year-old artist at the time that doesn't make money on CDs, hasn't made money in CDs in 20, 30 years, it was absolutely phenomenal turnout.
We actually lived at his studio for like 2 weeks
lived at his studio
in California, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Way back in this.
A lot of people that we work with like want us to live there. Like Ankur, when we were working with him, like I couldn't leave his office for like weeks at a time. I didn't even shower. I don't even think I
put
showered.
a cot out. I'm not. He's online. It really happened.
I believe it. I know the story.
He needed a nap, so I was like, all right, I got a cot. We'll put it out. We're not going to stop working.
right.
One time, I was walking into the office, and his secretary at the time would not let me in his office, so I just took a nap in front of his door, and he comes out and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Your guy wouldn't let me in," so I just took a nap.
He was just sitting there outside the door. I was like, "What is going on?" And secretly, I was taking a nap on the inside. All right. So, in terms of disruption marketing and disruption in industry,
I mean, that was it right there.
I feel like the infrastructure that you guys have set up for your clients has always been game changing in whatever space that it's been in. What version of like tech was your favorite to kind of innovate and create? And you don't have to say Shreds app. It's okay. You get to pick something else.
I thought Shreds was fun. Well, besides the fact that we did that huge thing in Vegas, I thought that was awesome, by the way. That huge... People were going wild. They had Shreds tattoos. You changed people's lives. I thought that was fantastic.
Thanks, man.
It's huge.
And plus, it did make a lot of money for Shreds, which was cool. But I think right now we're really heavy in the meal prep space. So meal prep is like an exploding market, and a lot of people have gone into the industry. So there's only one other competitor, I'd say maybe two, that do software for meal prep, and they're absolutely terrible. So when we saw that everyone was on like these really rudimentary WordPress sites or Shopify apps that don't do meal prep, and meal prep is like really specific. It's not like, you pick your clothes, you're out the door. It has delivery dates cut off. So there's a lot of specific things that go into it.
So this is more than chicken and broccoli.
Yeah. Well, no, not just that. Like the process of getting meal prep, it's not like you just check out, they ship out your food and it's there.
Yeah, no, you got to pick the weeks. You got to pick the meals, how many meals a week, how many.
Yeah, exactly. There's a cutoff. So like basically you'll have up into Friday to get your meals on Monday. So you need a calendar picker and all these interesting things. And kitchen reports and etc. So
there's all back end to it for sure.
Exactly. No one was doing that, and we said, "Wow, let's do this," because there's thousands of these people out here, and like one guy that serves them that was absolutely overcharging. The software was terrible, and he has a really bad reputation with his clients. So we're like, "Wow, let's really get into this space."
So let's get into the nitty gritty of it. When you guys see an opening and a gap like that, are you doing it from scratch? Or are you guys taking a pre-existing code and like solution and then repurposing it for an industry that needs it?
Yeah. So the first thing we do when we see like an opportunity in the space is I'll 100% talk to people and lie and say, I have this solution. Here's what it does. And say, are you interested? He'll be like, yeah, like, can I get on it?
He's like those girls on Instagram that are like, I made $10,000. I don't even know what I'm doing. I just pitched my marketing services.
Yeah. It's definitely like a business catfish.
Okay.
I'll say, look, I really don't have it yet, but we're going to do this. And, like the people that I do that to, I'll usually give them like a free license to what we're doing. Just
wait a second. Is that how you got us? Were you like, I know how to build an app that sells supplements? Is that what happened?
Actually, never. Yeah.
That was a one-off, but yeah, so like when basically you do a software as a service, you make sure that there's people that want it and how hard, people want it. You can usually tell by like a phone call or two. Like if people are like super like, I need this today, you know that you have a winner on your hands. You obviously know if someone's dominating the market.
Yeah. So when it comes to stuff like software, I know that you built the Shreds app way back in the day. Is that something that you consider as part of your like your bread and butter for your company, making apps along with building software right now, or is software number one for you guys?
Yeah, so we used to like be really heavy into the agency, which is like we went to Shreds. Actually, the first time we went, to Shreds, we emailed Ankur directly, said, hey, we have a great idea for Shreds. We came in with like a nice presentation. He threw it out the window and said, this sucks, but here's a good idea that you can do. Come back.
Yeah.
So we revised our pitch and came back and wound up working out. That was history.
Yeah.
So we used to do a lot of like agency work, but not anymore as much because we're focusing on you pay X amount of dollars a month. And we know what we're making and we just keep growing that, rinse and repeat. We don't have to do as much work. With agency, you have to build it every time. You have to know the client. You have to know their business. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yep. We're going through that now.
So I guess one thing that most people don't know about is when you're disrupting in software, there's a lot of ups and downs. Issues with updates, issues with client payments, issues with MX. I mean, you guys got to have some stories that are worth sharing.
I'll tell you, I think we'll go with Shreds, right? So basically Shreds, we moved into their space for like 3 weeks. No, I would say about 5 weeks, where me, one of our employees, Lewis, and one of our designers were there literally 24/7 for 5 weeks to deliver this. On Thanksgiving, I said, Ankur, I'm going to go home for turkey. He said, you better be back here in 4 hours finishing the site. That was probably like the most extreme case of like deadline. Like deadlines are always the worst, right? When you say, hey, I need this for this date, things pop up. But, a lot of times the clients like the scope creep, right? So you'll say like, I want to do this. They're like, well, we have to have this. I'm like, well, we didn't discuss this. Yeah. And then it gets into one of those things where you want to make them happy, but they still want in the same time frame.
Yeah.
And, it's definitely one of the bigger hardships of doing custom work for people.
Yeah. I think it's similar to like building houses, right? Like construction. You put together, you got the vision, you get together with the client, and then you come up with the plan, and you start the building process, and you realize, this isn't going to fit the way we thought it was going to fit, and things have to change, right? Yeah. So it's similar to that.
They'll be like, just add a half bath. It's not a big deal. And it's like, the house is done. So
right.
We can't move the washing machine to the first floor. Right? It's stuck in the basement or the second floor, or wherever it's got to be.
It makes you want to rip your hair out sometimes.
Yeah, I get it.
So, I mean, outside of clients now in this like software as a solution like scenario that you guys are in, have there been any ups and downs or
with software as a service?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot less, I'll be honest. It's a lot more straightforward. Like with developing from the start, with like a new product, it's definitely much more challenging than here's what we have and take it or leave it. Because at one point or another, we have about 1,000 people on this software as a service. So when we were first starting, it was more challenging because people were like, I really need this in order to join your platform. And you're like sitting there like, well, I want clients. So, we would spend a lot of time doing semi-custom work. And then after a while, I said, if someone doesn't want to be on this platform as is, then they should go somewhere else, respectfully.
All right, Mike. This one's going to be one of the ones that's going to really dig in.
Okay.
How do you handle the copycats? Because once you launch something, I'm sure there's people that are signing up just to see your back end and your portal and the solutions and what you guys create. And I'm sure they've tried.
Yeah, I mean, we've literally had our number 2 competitor hack into someone's site through social engineering and try and rip our code and things like that. But it's the same thing with any industry or once you're the best at something, and we are by far and away the best, we focused on making our product the filler for whatever need people have. It's just not, you could copy it, but you just can't copy the magic sometimes. Like when everything's working for you and we provide a great service, we don't overcharge people, we have full support, and you're always just going to be playing for second best, trying to do something like that. And, when we started, that particular gentleman had a couple hundred clients. He's probably down to like 10, 15. Oh, wow. Everyone's come to us.
He's on his way up.
And it's not like we specifically targeted or tried to go after anybody. It's just, we filled the need. We created something that people love, and we do it at a great price. And it's like, for these business owners, it's a no-brainer for them.
And is the goal to continually get more clients and get to the bigger names and the bigger names like Trifecta Nutrition or something like that?
I'd actually rather avoid them, I'll be honest.
Okay.
I'd rather have all the people that do 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 meals a week than the one guy that does 100,000 meals a week. One, they're very more demanding for not much more money. Let's just say that they pay triple. I could just get 3 small clients that I never hear from.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Set it
And
and
you get
forget
you get a lot of them locally too, right? I'm sure.
Ton. I mean,
in the Northeast
now,
we have.
I mean, every city, I would say, every major city has at least 10 meal prep clients. Every 3 or 4 towns has a meal. There's about
Really?
7,000 in the U.S., about 2,000 in Canada, and about 1,500 in the U.K. that do it our style, which means that you have 1 delivery day a week or 2, but everything's, kind of one day.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to other countries, they deliver fresh because they expect like that day made food. That's not the style in which our platform works. So as of right now, we're not supporting those.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and not to cut you off, but I think what Dan was touching on before, what makes it so much better, transitioning from agency to doing our own projects, is the power structure has changed. Like when you're working with a client and building their project and they're paying you hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, whatever, you are a slave to them. And they can really make or break your world. If they decide to stop paying or whatever, they go out of business. With us, if a company wants to leave us, great. Good luck, best of luck. You're one of 1,000, and it doesn't change the needle for us in one way or another. So it's a lot less stressful. And, it took a long time to build up for that and to build a support team and things like that. In the beginning, we were the support team, but that's how we kind of sharpened our knives and learned really in and out the business. I mean, I would say Dan more than me, because he deals with sales and really talking to these people. He knows more about meal prep than anybody on the earth.
So what I'm hearing is that Dan won't sleep in his own bed. That's why this whole shift happened. You're tired of sleeping in people's offices.
I need to sleep at home. I need weekends back. I got my weekends back, and I'll never go back to not having that.
That's cool, man. So how does the creative process work? When you guys are coming up with UI UX, when you guys are coming up with the decisions for one module connecting to another, is this something that you are doing collaboratively with the entire team? Are you two making all the decisions? How does that work?
Sure, we have a team, but like research is heavy, right? So we'll look at who's doing a lot of money and why, right? Is it their content? Is it their ambassadors? Is it a good checkout process? So we'll figure out who's doing good, and we take a little from here and there. And then we really sit down and we poll our clients all the time. So they'll tell us like, hey, my 80-year-old client had a problem here, or my 60-year-old client this, or, it would be easier if this is the style of subscription. So we take a lot of feedback and definitely do iterations of our software. I'd say every 2 weeks we're launching something.
What's the software as a solution that we need right now?
Oh, man.
I say podcast distribution.
Yeah.
I need you guys to build us a podcast distribution.
As long as there's a
software.
lot of people that'll pay X amount of dollars a month, sure.
I mean, yeah, for free.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, the classic Ankur is.
We just rolled back the clock to 2014.
We're competing with Spotify, right? Spotify launched the whole free way to do this.
Yeah.
They bought Anchor.fm. And so
That's
it's
amazing.
I mean, the irony of the names. But more importantly, you can literally distribute a podcast wherever you want. But the video podcast distribution aspect, I don't think there's a software as a solution like opportunity there at the current moment.
What do you think?
I think we should talk about that.
We should after the podcast.
After the podcast.
After the podcast.
Otherwise, that'll be a lengthy meeting or end our episode.
We need a hashtag after the podcast.
So when it comes to the journey of being an entrepreneur, one of the things that we talk about in the Disruption Podcast is none of this comes easy, right? There were nights at Shreds where obviously, I didn't even have time to eat. We were working so hard. Or there are times where ups, downs, so on and so forth. Same thing with the agency that we're currently running. Can we talk about any of the trials and tribulations that you guys have dealt with? I mean, in a software company, COVID must have been a wreck for you guys.
It actually wasn't. It actually accelerated our meal prep business because no one could go out of the house.
It ended up being, for us, COVID ended up being a very good thing.
Yeah, we actually tripled in COVID, to be honest. So,
But what about with the staff? Any issues there?
no, we all just work from home.
No, really?
Yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, as funny as it is, it sucks, but it all worked out perfectly. Our lease was up April of 2020. COVID hit in March. So literally I said, let's not even renew the lease. They were going to give us a discount. I said, why? No one wanted to be there. We worked from home. We saved $10,000 a month. And so many people started cooking from home and doing meal prep because you couldn't go to a restaurant. So during that time, anyone who's already doing meal prep tripled at least in business. And so many new people came to the market that were doing catering because they couldn't do parties anymore, or that were doing restaurants that said, let me do this. I have a list of 1,000 people, or I have a gym and no one's coming to the gym right now. So many different people that had like adjacent businesses to meal prep said, let me get my hands in meal prep, started doing 10, 15 grand a month, and they've been with it.
Damn.
Even if it's a side business now, but back then that was their main thing. Now that COVID has eased up, their restaurants are open.
Yeah.
But you're not going to give up a business that's doing 200 grand a year.
Right.
Doing what you're already doing. You're
Right.
cooking already. So what
Exactly.
difference is a plate or a little plastic box for
And
them?
meal prep is cool because like you don't work every day. You literally get orders to, let's just say Friday. You work Saturday to prep, Sunday to cook. You're delivering on Monday morning or some variation of that.
Wow. So that takes care of the highs. What are some of the lows?
I mean, 24/7 work for a long time, for years.
Listen, we work with people across the world. So like when we're asleep, Australia is up and the UK is up. So if they have some sort of issue and we're getting calls at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, our time knows no blur, right? So the sun never sets on what people are doing in meal prep. So that's like definitely a problem that we're having is staffing people enough to get, to take care of these people. Because in UK, if it's 2 for us, it's 8 in the morning for them. And that's when people are ordering. From 8 to like 1 in the afternoon, people are ordering.
Right.
So we had to have someone there at that time. So, trying to find people that are maybe across seas in Europe to do, those people because they're in similar time zones and making sure they show up, because sometimes I've had it where they didn't show up and people needed support, and you wake up to 100 emails saying, I need to know how to pull reports, or I just fired, a lot of turnover in those businesses. So they're like, I can't pull reports. I fired my manager last night. And I said, thanks for the heads up.
Right.
But like they're sitting there and they can't do their, their meals.
Right.
So one thing these guys don't talk about is they're problem solvers. And I remember hearing about this credit card processing problem that you guys were having, 7 years ago? And you guys came up with that solution. I feel like people need to hear about that story. Tell us why Happy Processing started and, where it's kind of gone for you guys since.
Yeah, so actually it started with shreds. So like a lot of companies that do supplements have problems with processing. It's not because they're bad companies, but because for whatever reason, supplements is like a really high risk industry. So a lot of people were having problems with getting accounts. So but if they did, they were paying like 5%, which was like bananas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, these guys are basically partners in their business.
Yeah.
So we actually started working with a company called Stacker 2. They're a really large energy shot company.
Yeah.
Dexatrim, all that.
Yeah, right. So basically we said, all right, look, these guys need credit card processing. Our meal prep clients need credit card processing. CBD is having a huge problem in credit card processing, and we do, sites for CBD. So we're like, let's do processing because everyone needs it. They're willing to pay a lot of money. And basically we started a company that allows them to process, and we charge them slightly lower than their competitors. They're happy to save the 0.5%.
Yeah.
And obviously, we won't onboard companies we don't know for high risk, because if they wind up having a problem with 20, 30,000 and they go out of business, we're burned for that money.
Yeah.
So it is an actual high risk for the merchant processor.
Yeah.
So anyone listening at home that's having a problem with the credit card processor, hit your boy Ankur up. I'll vouch for you. I'll connect you to the Nasello brothers.
He only
We'll
wants
see if we can
1%.
get you guys get that set up.
Well, so just on that, and I think this is why we're so successful, in this endeavor, is like we've done everything the hard way. Whether or not that was the right thing to do, that's just what we knew. We had no experience in running businesses or anything when we started all those years ago. So like our competitor, what he does is he just has Stripe as a processor for his meal prep sites and tax of 1% on top of 1.5 on top of Stripe. So that was a huge reason we actually created our own credit card processor company. We're part of a bank. We pay a fee every year. We're like vetted, licensed, fingerprinted, the whole nine. So we deal with merchant interchange, and our portion's not on top of anybody's. It's direct
Above Visa.
So all of his customers that are getting charged that, when they come to us, they're saving almost 2% on credit card processing fees, and a lot of the times, just what they're saving on credit card processing covers their website.
Everything else.
I love that. They're just doing right by the customers, and that's what's causing them to succeed.
So you're a true payment processor.
Yeah.
We pay $10,000 a year to be a part of the, Visa and MasterCard.
club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's crazy. So you can pretty much onboard anybody.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
Mostly
Within reason.
Mike carries a swipe in his pocket, so at any point you can just run a credit card if needed.
From anywhere, yeah.
Yeah. And we can
So
distribute.
you
it
get
to
the
them.
residual pays off that's the
Yeah.
business to be in of all the businesses in the world.
It's
right?
good. It's not like super high margin, but like volume wins, right?
Yeah.
And literally, once you onboard the client, there's zero work.
Right.
Zero. It's not like software. Software can go wrong, or the site goes down, or a million things
Have
go
you guys
wrong.
thought about that at some point? Just getting into the merchant services
Definitely.
business
All of
and
our-
just staying with that.
I mean, our software does pretty well. So but
Okay.
as an accessory to that, right? And we deal in
course.
e-commerce, so everybody who on the agency side launches a site needs credit card processing. So we sign them up,
Yeah.
and it's like Dan said, it's a volume play. And as part of our bank, they have 24/7 support. So that's the big thing with the companies, is the support is really the killer that can kind of break your back if you don't have that structure set up. And over the years, we really built that. The cool thing with switching to agency focus to our own products is, now that we have taken over an industry, right? We have 1,000-ish people. We create other products as add-ons for them.
Wait, tell us what products.
So
got it here.
we have a logistics software that we're going to launch soon. So we basically looked at what all these companies are using, and whatever competitors, like whatever products they're using, software products, we're just make a copy
Replacing
of it.
them. Yeah.
So
Make
first
it a
they
little
took on-
cheaper.
So first they took on WooCommerce and Shopify. Now I'm hearing they're taking on ShipStation and USPS, essentially, right?
Yeah.
What's next after that?
Well, we do texting, so usually people were using Slick Text or some other SMS.
So
marketing.
Twilio is next on their radar.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
well,
we
that's
already
already
that's already done. So
This
that,
is turning into a pretty large hit list that you guys have going on.
Yeah.
Talk about disruption, man.
We also just released a review software for automated reviews.
Okay,
As
Trustpilot,
part of-
goodbye. Okay.
Yeah. So we just
Exactly.
we have zero acquisition costs because we have the direct numbers of all these businesses that are using it. Our pitch to them is, hey, same product, but you're in the family. We're a little bit cheaper, and people save $20-$30 a month, and we connect it to your site. There's literally nothing you have to do. Just pay us instead of them, and you get the same product cheaper. And it's like it's a home run every time.
So is there a part of the business that you won't touch?
You know what? Can I answer that for them? I think I know, because I checked out your social media page, right? Your Instagram page is non-existent.
We don't
you
have
have
time.
2 posts.
Yeah, we don't even have time.
So like, you just don't care. Like, I love it. By the way, my point is I love it.
I hate it. I need to see
I
photos.
freaking love it.
Well, maybe
because
we'll
behind
have
the
you guys
scenes.
take
my
over.
question for you is along the lines of like a part of your business that you don't touch. I mean, you guys clearly have your eggs in another basket. Like, you don't really care about the marketing side of your business because you're probably getting it word of mouth, I'm assuming.
So we do run ads, but ads on Google are incredibly successful. And then honestly, for this type of market, since it's B2B, cold outreach is like unbelievably effective.
We don't care about the vanity.
Yeah.
We never did, and that's
Yeah.
like, we exist in the shadows, and
That's
just kind of make money doing it. It's a different market, right? Like what Ankur did was 100%
All vanity.
Yeah,
All vanity.
100%. And that's great. And this is media, and that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have our own website. We were building websites for other people. We didn't have our own website for about 3 years into business because we were just so busy. We couldn't even launch a website for ourselves. We were launching it for other people.
If you're not going to do it, just don't do it. If you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. Like, that's basically the thing. Like, when you're dealing with like direct to consumer, like Ankur was, like, you want to put on a show, throw whey protein at everyone in the crowd, everyone goes wild. Vegas.
You're a showman. Yeah.
He's been to too many of my
Was that, or was that the movie Blow? I don't know. Anyway, so I got blurred. Anyway, the point being is you had the meal prep companies have to have like a social media. They have who's the cook, am I jacked on the screen, because you can't be, out of shape and selling healthy meals. It's kind of weird, right? So like, people want to know that you know how to cook. People want to know that you also eat meal prep, and they want to trust in like who they're buying their food from. But if I'm selling to a business owner, they just want to make sure that it's going to work and it's going to take their orders correctly, which is like their most important thing. They don't care that we're jacked and eat meal prep.
Right.
I do, but like the point is that you don't have to.
Right.
To answer your question though, the things we won't do are anything that requires us to leave our desk. So as long as we could do it from a command station, 10,000, whatever, 1,000 miles away. Like, we just spent a month in Italy and we were able to run our business from there because it's all software. We have, the support pieces in place. So like, life's a lot better, but you have to, we had to earn that through the years.
How did you guys find the right Wi-Fi speeds?
Yeah, that was my question.
It was tough for me on my honeymoon.
I mean, it's a challenge. It's a definite challenge. Some places had much better Wi-Fi than others. Like, the cities were fine.
Okay.
But outside the cities, it was shaky.
Yeah.
But also, we're 6 hours ahead. So, like, I could spend the whole day and do what I have to do. And by, like, 4 o'clock, I go home for a little bit. And it's 8 o'clock at home. So, like, the people that, I guess, need me at 8 o'clock in the morning are none the wiser.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Do we have any websites that we don't like using? Do we need to add to their hit list?
Yeah. Well, what we need to do is get them to do our app.
I mean, which one?
All of them. As a matter of fact, is there, back to the point about the social media, you said, is there something that you want us to step in on the social media side, or is that something that you're even concerned about? Like, are you cool with that? With the way your social
But like
is?
our personal products, we really sell to business people, and I'm not sure that they even care about social media.
That was my pitch.
Dude, I really
man.
thought you were about to launch our own Be Real. And you were like, hey guys, we're going to disrupt social media and come out with a whole new system.
Nah, it doesn't sound like it.
Okay. I mean, we did talk about videos and before Vine even existed.
We did.
And we were trying to figure out how to do that in the app that we built together. But I mean, history is history.
Yeah.
For what
So
it is.
so it's Vine.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess,
That was a fun journey nonetheless.
Yeah.
how many total business customers, is there like a round number or something you can throw out there, are currently using your softwares?
About 1,000.
About 1,000, yeah.
And what is your favorite testimonial you ever gotten from one of these customers?
We don't even collect testimonials.
Yeah, we don't do any of that. It's
Listen, if we don't hear from people, we're like so happy about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like that's a good testimonial to me. If no one's complaining that like their site doesn't work, that means you're doing everything correct.
You never had a chargeback?
No, not once.
I mean, people have our personal numbers, right? So if they have a problem, they reach out to us. We do our best. I mean, you're always going to get like the crazy person that is going to have a problem no matter what. We've had like one person has left us in the past and then saw what the grass was like on the other side and begged for us to come back. We let them back on our software.
So generous.
Yeah, I'm actually like the scornful ex-boyfriend. My policy is once you leave, you're not coming back. But they made a good case. So.
They made a good, yeah. He's like the emperor and gladiator. Like,
Oh, he was one of those?
Yeah.
Okay, so then if there's no favorite testimonial, there's got to be someone who you guys did like a pro bono account for, and you kind of just changed the way the software worked for them. Tell us about that.
Okay, so Muscle Maker Grill. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah, of course.
One
So
of my
they were
favorite
having
places.
a huge, they were big. I mean, they are big.
They're awesome.
Yeah, they're big.
They have gone out of business locally, a few locations, right? They kind of.
Yeah, I think by down the shore and up north by Clifton, as a matter of fact. Clifton's like their biggest location in the country.
Really?
Yeah, that place makes the most money for them.
Oh, good to know.
For sure. So basically during 2020, the pandemic, obviously, no one was going to the stores. I called the CEO. He just had taken over Muscle Maker Grill. And I said, look, let's do a meal prep site with our software. I'll do it for free. In exchange, let's do a full-on blast PR newswire. We got in the news with them. We did a bunch of different like publications. So that really helped us because once we launched with them, a lot of people were like, oh, I know Muscle Maker Grill. So
of course.
You know, people in Texas, Florida, they're like, wow, you guys have them. You must know what you're doing. That really helped us. And it really helped them because they started doing thousands of orders from each location, which went down. Well, they had a huge database of like, they're good at data collecting. So they had like 200,000-300,000 people, you know, in their database ready to rock. So they were doing massive amount of orders. It helped them out. It helped us out. We did their processing, so we still made some money on it.
Oh, wow. Is that a concern from the perspective of your clients when they know that you have the data of all these different?
I mean, you know, it's in our contracts that we don't ever cross-pollinate, sell, or hold their data.
Come on, man.
I mean, but if you're with any
afraid.
company, it's like a concern regardless. Like Shopify, whatever, you know, even streaming services I see get sued all the time for stealing people's data.
I mean, no one's afraid that Shopify has everyone's data or that WooCommerce has everyone's data or that your phone book and my phone book has every influencer's phone number from coast to coast, right? I mean, we don't have contracts about that, but no one's worried about it. It just happens.
Yeah, I mean, or they could stay taking orders on Instagram and getting Zelle. I mean,
that's what a lot.
Cash App.
Yeah, Cash App. Well, a lot of people, whatever, Cash App, Zelle, and whatever they're doing. A lot of people will take orders online. And say, hey, call me, and then they'll send a Venmo request, and then do it that way. I'm like, you could take 200-300 orders like that and spend your whole week doing it.
Yeah.
Yo, all BS aside, we need to disrupt the barbershop industry.
The barbershop industry.
The barbershop industry.
Nice. That is an interesting industry because there's nothing that's like fantastic out for them.
Booksy was okay. Booker's all right.
Yeah, but Booksy's like very top level. Like I want my barber and that's it. There's no like.
I need to be able to like pre-order a drink before I get to my haircut.
Nice.
Get to my haircut. Everything's ready for me. Yeah, I want to choose a temperature of my lather foam for the shave.
I always wanted to do like a combination barbershop and coffee shop together. So.
Or like a barbershop weed shop.
That'd be cool.
There you go.
I feel like that'd be way cool. I mean, I don't know if you want your barber to be high.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As long as the barber's not high.
Yeah, I guess that could be a problem, right?
Otherwise, you're going to come out with an interesting haircut.
I mean, but you
Or
know,
he's going to fall asleep halfway through the haircut.
My friend had that happen to him. It wasn't funny.
Oh, I believe it.
He had a big stripe down his head that was bald.
it grew back.
It did. But I don't think the emotional scar's gone.
But I feel like I feel like my barber would really appreciate a better software solution.
Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think? Is that something that
Always.
when it comes to expanding past the meal prep, is that something that you guys are thinking?
Always open for new opportunities. And again, it's all about you ask like 5 or 10 people and say, is this gonna work? And if everyone's like biting at the bit to say, I need this, then why not? I was actually looking at credit repair services. So there's this company that does a website and the CRM for like company repair guys. They're just like singular guys that like help you with your credit. They charge $500 a month and they have like 10,000 clients. I'm like, these guys are making $1 million a year, and their software is like it's appalling.
So you build them a CRM.
So we just build a better CRM of what they're doing. Literally just say, okay, the same features. The features are cool, but the way it works is like horrendous.
Yeah.
And sell for $400 a month.
Dear Salesforce, we're so sorry that we can't endorse you
Goodbye,
any further.
Salesforce.
Yeah. That's not going to be the solution any longer. No, that makes sense, man. I've signed up for those guys' services in the past. I have a little bit of a dark side background with credit up and down. But it was terrible signing up for any of those platforms.
Speaking of credit cards, should we go into what you guys did to me in Vegas?
No, we can. Okay, let's talk about it. Go ahead. Let it go. Hashtag credit card roulette.
What?
Dan didn't know what this was, right? You tell the story.
Yeah, so they said let's play credit card roulette, not knowing. I thought that was something to do with like gambling since we were in a casino. Yeah. So everyone pulls out their card. They're like, "Give us our card." I was like, "What are we doing?" They're like, "Oh, whoever's card gets picked by the waiter has to pay." I'm like, "Oh man!" I already knew for some reason in my head that I was going to pay this bill. And
wait, how much was the bill? Do you remember?
It was like $1,100.
Okay.
It wasn't like the end of the world, but like as a matter of fact, the people we were with had just talked about how horrible Lexuses were, and anyone who drives Lexus was like horrible. So I turned to the guy, I'm like, "I drive a Lexus, man," because I was like super awkward already. It was all cool. I wasn't offended, but so then we did the credit card roulette, and of course I lost, and then so I also got emotionally and financially burnt at that dinner.
Not a fun weekend for you.
The ups and downs. Clearly,
Yeah,
all,
that was the downs.
all are around Ankur Garg apparently somehow. Oh man,
Keeps it interesting.
So I guess if there's people out there that currently have a web service that they're not happy with, and they reach out to Combustion Group, what's the best way to reach out to you guys?
Definitely, we have 2 live chat representatives 24/7. So we actually use like a
combustiongroup.com?
service. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, like you could do live chat through the site. That's 24/7. We use
Wait a second. You don't answer the live chat anymore?
no.
So
We
who am I
have
talking
Ruby.
to?
We have Ruby. You ever heard of Ruby Receptionist?
I just know at 3 a.m. when I'm all alone and I'm like, I need to talk to Dan. I thought I was talking to you.
No, it's some guy, I think, somewhere across the world.
In the Philippines.
Yeah,
India,
No,
wherever.
all US. All
Is
US.
it? Ruby's all US?
They're in Seattle.
Well, hashtag Ruby. They're fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you guys create Ruby? Is that what's happening?
No.
No, but it's a service that has a live chat and a representative 24/7 for like $800 a month.
Huh.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
And again, back to your previous question, like we could very easily create those types of businesses, but the human effort involved in that, like we could make a killing doing, live phone calls for all these companies and gets routed, but it's just that's not our wheelhouse. We just want to do everything we could do from a desk and not have to hire a bunch of people, and we just want to get people's credit cards and first of the month just bill it. And
You know what? I don't want to deal with anything that has to do with customer facing, because if something goes wrong with a customer, then they get really sensitive, which I get.
Yeah.
And if you mess up, you feel bad.
When you're dealing with, well, obviously we talked about Apple and Google phone, right? So if you're doing stuff that's app based and the Apple, the iPhone or whatever has to do an update, how bad does that affect you guys? We've heard horror stories in terms
On
of
apps?
Yeah.
That actually just happened last month, like literally 30 days ago. Apple randomly released a new version, I guess, with their new iPhone, and it was an absolute disaster.
Right.
Nothing worked for like 2 days. So everyone had to stay on for 48 hours to launch a fix. Thankfully, once an app is launched, it's like 12 hours from their review period to it's fixed. But like no one could choose anything on the app for like a good 24 hours. And
But you guys
pretty
get
painful.
crushed with the phone calls, correct?
It was like a nuclear time.
we always get the blame, never the praise.
Yeah. There's like a couple times a year now that we expect it to be bad. One is September, because Apple does their biggest updates in September along with their new phones.
Yeah.
So that's like something now that I have to remember in August, like, hey, it's coming, and brace yourself type thing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be up at night doing an update on my phone, making sure if there's a problem by that same day we're out with a new thing. The thing is, Apple just doesn't tell you, so like you don't know what you're gonna get. It's like a box of chocolates. Anyway, it could be good, it could be bad. We don't know.
Yeah.
And this one was pretty bad. It was like a huge change for no reason, so we had to fix that, and then that was pretty bad. And not always during the holidays. The holidays are the worst for us.
Especially Black Friday is.
Yeah, Black
that
Friday.
I haven't had a
Christmas,
good Black Friday in
Thanksgiving.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because
everyone's
everybody
doing
wants to
sales.
launch for a big sale for Black
Hey,
Friday.
I fed you guys that year.
Yeah, we had turkey and shreds. I was like throwing Flavor God seasoning on like turkey. I'm like,
Hungry man.
I was like, where did I go wrong? Like,
It was delicious, all right?
it was good, but like I was definitely like tired. I didn't sleep in 4 days. I definitely didn't shower in at least a week, and I was like, I just want to go home.
But even that, like for our marketing clients too, because we do marketing as well, it's always like some convoluted sale for Black Friday that's a and it's not one day. It's like Black Friday is 2 weeks
Cyber
now.
Monday. Yeah.
So it's and
But mostly people are good. Like mostly people will do like, buy a gift card and get the second one like 10% off or something like that. But then you get the people that want to do like buy 15 meals and get 2 meals free and a cookie. Like, it's like just something that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Macadamia nut all day.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know, it doesn't really do that and it doesn't make sense for meal prep. So you want to try something else? They're like, no, like our heart is set on it and our whole business depends on it.
Oh my god.
I'm sure you guys had the same thing where like they were so adamant about like something that like just didn't make sense, but like you had to run with it.
I mean, Ludwig, I've always dreamed of having angel wings in my photo shoot. Okay, I don't care that we're doing it at night or that we're doing it a day.
It's the worst.
I need
case.
the wings.
Yeah, it's the worst case scenario when a customer knows more and knows better than the business owner. Like, you know, as a photographer, and he's referring to when a client comes to you and tells you what they think is going to look better in a photo than you. It just never works. But you do your best, right? You do your best to give the client what they want, and you try to advise them, and then you move forward.
I would say our craziest request for marketing was like it was a meal prep company that his dream ad was him in a bathtub of milk with Fruit Loops and saying, "Is this what you consider eating clean?"
Oh my god.
We did it. It was just like weird, but
I think we did a billboard for that.
we did the billboard, and it was him in the tub of milk, an actual tub with Fruit Loops
Like a clawfoot
and a spoon.
bathtub, yeah.
It was like hours of like him being naked,
And he
in the
loved
tub.
it.
Oh, he was so happy.
Man, some guys just know how to market, you know? And at the end of the day,
I think it worked. I'll be honest. I mean, there's just shock factor of like a naked
Shock.
guy in the tub on a billboard on Route 22 or whatever. It was
Yeah.
just like,
A shock value always helps, right? Disruption marketing.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right, so let's change the scope of the podcast. It's your first time being on a podcast. What questions do you have for us?
that's a good question. What do you have?
Man, I wish we were prepared for that ahead of time.
It's all good.
Honestly, how do you get your hair to stay up so perfectly? I need to know.
The S curl.
It's a secret training process of Ayurvedic ingredients. And Ludwig and I will be launching a brand for that pretty soon.
Nice.
So
Look at
people
my
can learn
girl.
about that. No, I mean, honestly, I'm blessed. It is what it is.
Fantastic.
And unfortunately, Ludwig didn't have the same genes that I had, and he just doesn't have
Shaved
that.
it all off, man. It's
Easier.
You can't
don't have to get haircuts.
Yeah, you can't have two people with great hair on the same podcast. It's just too much. Yeah.
You can't.
I've seen Dan with long hair, and it gets curly. I don't understand why it's curly.
Me neither. I'm Southern Italian, so it's probably something to do with
It's
it.
like Boy Meets World. It's like a whole afro. It's like, how did this happen?
It does. It does. I have to shave it every week or else it gets pretty bad.
Well,
Well, what I guess for you, Ankur, what is one of the craziest? Because you dealt with a lot of customers, obviously,
a couple.
and unique ones. I would say the people in your industry were, interesting to say the least. What is your like craziest client story, or maybe very beginning days of Shreds when you had a little more interaction with them, or
I guess throughout the years, I've had the B2B clients. I've had the B2M clients. I've had the direct-to-consumer clients, so on and so forth. It's tough for me to pick one story in each category or just one overall, but I think the testimonials have always been so meaningful because you find out that, sure, you're marketing a service and you're providing products, but it actually made a difference. I mean, just imagine how many people you guys have helped by providing software for these meal prep companies, because it's a service that's not as accessible in most of these communities,
Yeah.
right? And especially for people who don't know how to cook, because like I don't know how any of these single girls handled COVID, right? they must have been ordering food every single meal.
DoorDash stock went up tremendously.
I'm sure.
Uber
Big
Eats,
time.
DoorDash, yeah.
Big time.
But like I just feel those testimonials have been the most like motivating and moving stories. I mean, there were guys. One of my favorite customers was Trucker Fitness. Do you remember this guy?
Yeah.
And so he was a truck driver, and the whole idea was that no one really cares about your health when you're in that industry.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, chowing down monsters and whatever Wawa sandwiches and so on and so forth that you can get. And he was creating a whole fitness routine just to like be in shape while you're on the road and like be alert and everything that goes with it. But this guy, because of what we were doing through Shreds and Flavor God and Skating and all these other companies, like it was like life-changing for him. And then he inspired, I think it was like 30 some other truck drivers to jump into that lifestyle change as well. And so these guys just had a better life.
wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a long time. I should reach out, find
Yeah,
out
you
what's up
should.
with him.
See if he's still fit.
You should.
Oh no, he's definitely still fit for sure.
And
Yeah.
if you're still a trucker.
I mean, that dude had an empire. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing his thing.
Can you just tell me about the Shreds stalkers that you guys used to have? Because I remember there was quite a few times when we were there, people would just run up in the place looking for you.
Well, in Vegas, what did you get to experience? Were you there when the book was in our room?
No.
So that was a crazy story, right? So, these ideas of like watching these podcasts and people are like, we're accessible, come hit us up whenever you want, or like staying outside our office to try to get a job and so on and so forth. There was a tour that we went on, and there were multiple times I would check into my hotel and there'd be books in my bed. Like gifts that these people had bought me because they thought I needed to read these books. I'm like, I've read the 4-Hour Workweek guy. I don't need you to give me another copy of it. And but it was genuine and it wasn't, it was harmless. It wasn't anything crazy. But the crazier stories are for a non-PG rated podcast. We can talk about that separately.
But there is, this rings a bell. So I managed Page Hathaway for a few years, 2018, 2019, something like that. And there was a Arnold event, right? So we were at the Arnold in Ohio, and Paige was slated to do an appearance at a booth on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but she had to.
I already know what story this one is.
She had to skip out on Saturday because she had to fly from Ohio to New York to go to an appearance for Saturday for, I think it was an iCryo location that had her do an appearance there. So she flew from Ohio and then on Saturday arrived in New York, did the appearance, and then flew back on Sunday for the appearance back at the Arnold. There was a fan that had driven up from Texas and wanted to see her for the Saturday appearance in Ohio, but he didn't realize she had switched. So then he drove from Ohio to upstate New York, somewhere near Syracuse for the iCryo event, took a picture with her, and then met her back again on Saturday for the iCryo event. And so, and then he bought her flowers, he wrote her a card, he asked if he could see her after the event. It was crazy. Like, so security had to get involved. It was pretty nervous. But, as far as going, how crazy people get when it comes to fandom for stuff like this, that's the craziest I've seen. Like Texas to Ohio to New York,
That's a lot.
back to Ohio.
That's insane.
And expensive.
And expensive. Crazy.
Wow. That's probably also part of the reason why we like to exist in the shadows a little bit. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Someone told me a long time ago, there's nothing better than being rich and anonymous. And, trying to get there, but
Well, that note, I mean, I definitely appreciate you guys coming on the show and sharing your stories and everything that goes into the podcast. Is there anything you want to say to the people at home about how to reach out to you guys or your services or how to give you guys thanks?
Not on Instagram.
Combustion.com.
It's just combustion.com now?
Just
We bought that URL. Guess how much it was? Take a guess.
I'm going to go ahead and say 33,000.
100,000.
Under 30. It was just under 40,000.
We actually have bought domains that are more than houses.
Our most expensive domain was fundit.com for 150K,
Wow.
which is basically a condo. Not nowadays, but back when
Back
we got
then,
it.
yeah.
Now you can buy like a garage, I think.
Fun fact, we didn't own Shreds.
What?
.com. It was Get Shreds. Shreds was a paper shredding company.
Really?
That's awesome.
That guy got so annoyed by getting our emails that he just reached out to us like, hey, please buy this domain off of me. I'm going
Really?
to change the name of my company.
How much did you guys spend on that?
I can't remember the exact number, but it was low 5 figures.
That's not
Probably.
bad. That's not bad.
It wasn't bad.
No,
Worth
for
it,
but-
that domain is
Yeah, but I mean, obviously that domain has an insane strength now.
yeah.
But yeah,
That's awesome.
Good.
crazy.
You like forced the sale
I
basically.
mean, if AKG.com is available, someone call me and let me know a price.
Yeah, we got to check on that.
I'll get Ludwig to approve it.
Yeah. AKG.com. So combustion.com.
Combustion.com.
Anything else?
happymealprep.com, happytexting.com, and happyprocessing.com.
All right.
Happytodeliver.com.
And get happy feedback.
Get happy feedback. Don't worry.
That one we can't get quite yet. We're working on it though.
I actually own a lot of happy domains. We should talk about that.
Do you?
We should.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I see this company now, Happy Returns or whatever, like totally
PayPal.
totally jacked our stuff. Like with the smile, we have like the whole smile logo and everything, and they
I got happytowarehouse.com. I have all sorts of stuff.
wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But thanks
We
for
should
coming on the
talk about what you
podcast.
have.
Thanks for coming on the podcast, guys.
Thanks
I
for having
appreciate
us.
you guys.
Yeah, man, we really appreciate it.
So, guys, until next week, we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
See ya.